Hello everyone. My name is Arup Sarkar and I'm a lead solution engineer representing retail and consumer goods. What I'm going to show you today is I built an app um, which is around platform events. Now, we all have worked with platform events at some point, I guess, and it's Salesforce makes it so easy to create a platform event. It's just like creating a custom object or an external object. But then working with it is a little difficult in the sense is that you have to remember the JSON, you have to remember the underscore C, the field names, the underscore E, the actual platform event name. You have to remember the JSONs, you have to remember the data types, you have to remember the whether they're required or not. So you know what I'm getting at. So it was a little difficult to work, and especially if there are changes, now you have to remember to change the JSON as well. So I was working with it in different orgs. I had platform events. I had in SDOs I had platform events, and then you have to save so many copies of your JSON if you want to work a little faster. So I thought to myself that there's a better way to do this. After all, it's all metadata. So I created an app which is hosted on Heroku, which you're seeing right here. And let me just log in. And I'm going to talk in detail about this is going to OAuth into your org because I just logged in. It is just showing it. What I'm going to do is that I'm not going to. This is one of the org um, that had the SDO, but I'm not going to log in into my SDO. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to change this. I'm going to log in into my developer org. All right. It is going to ask you for your access. Just allow. And what you're seeing right now is, again, this is the first time I'm initiating my platform event. And since it's running on Heroku with Hobby Dino, it just takes a little while for it to get initiated. But once it gets initiated, you're going to see the response. So here it is. So it actually lists the platform events. And if you see that I have two platform events in this org, and this org, which you're seeing right now, is nothing but this org. Okay. So I'm going to show the platform events in this org. I have two of them. All right, now let me just briefly talk about this particular application. So if any one of us who is going to show our customers, in some form integration platform events as an integration pattern, or if you're doing a POC, or if you're doing a project, right? Or if you're just an admin who it's become so easy to create a platform events and you want to do some testing, or you want to, do something more with the platform events, you can definitely use this app. So what this app does is that you log in using OAuth. It lists the platform events in the org. You can click any one of them, and it will show the fields, and then you can publish or subscribe platform events on this particular applications. Now, so I talked about the challenges, right? What are the challenges with the platform events and remembering stuff? Now, what this application is going to help is that, first of all, you don't have to remember anything. It just becomes like logging into an org. You see your platform events, you click on the ones that you want. And I'm going to come into this message broker in a second. And then, for example, if you want to publish a platform event, all you have to do is put some values in here and hit save. That's all. It's going to publish a platform event. If you want to publish something else, just click onto the other one, fill up the details, and hit save, and it will publish a platform events. And I'm going to demo it to you shortly. So, and as you know, platform events by nature is bi-directional, right? So, it's a responsibility of the application to be playing the role of either a listener or a publisher, okay? So what happens, the uniqueness of this one is that once a user clicks on any one of these particular platform event, it plays the role of both. You can actually put something into these fields and save, and it's going to publish. But at the same time, if an org, or if anywhere for this particular org, if anywhere somebody publish a platform events, it's actually going to show up on that messages on the message broker, which I just cleared it out, and it's not showing anything, but it's soon showing. So let me just show a small demonstration of how this whole application works. I created two use cases. So these are my two platform events. The first use case I'm going to demonstrate is outgoing. So what does it mean? Is that anytime an asset becomes obsolete, it'll actually publish a platform event. And for that, I have created a process builder. What it does is that it looks into an asset object. Let me just go ahead. It looks into the asset object. It finds out the criteria that if it's an obsolete, what does it do? It publishes a platform event, and Azure IoT is the one platform event for which it publishes, and it publishes the asset name, the description, and the status. This is for the outgoing. And I have another one, which is incoming, is leads. So for example, you all see all these leads. These leads were actually got created from this application, which is the lead generation. So imagine a use case that if you would like to capture leads coming from an external system, and the external systems happen to be this particular app, then you can easily show how the data is coming from here, which is an application, into Salesforce. So I'm going to show you both the incoming, and for that incoming, what I have is that I have a small trigger on that particular platform event, which is this platform event, and all I do is that I capture these fields, and then I go ahead and create insert the data into my lead object, right? And what it does is that you're going to see data coming into this lead object, right? So let me just demonstrate the first outgoing case. Is I'm going to go ahead and clear everything. I'm going to go back, and I'm on my Azure. I'm expecting now that when I because it's already obsolete, when I change something on my description, a platform event is going to fire. This process builder will make it happen. And I'm expecting that this here in my messages, I should be able to see something. All right, so let me just clear it up. I'll be in here. And for this particular, I'm going to say need repair. All right, and I'm going to save. So at this point of time, I know the platform event fired because of this process builder. And if I come in here, you see this messages. Now let me talk about this message broker. So what I have this as over here, a message broker is just for the purposes of an education. Like anytime any communication happens between this application and Salesforce, it actually gets logged in here. So without the need of checking the console or the network or the Salesforce debug logs, you can actually quickly go and verify the payload being submitted successfully and Salesforce's acknowledgement that this is the payload you submitted. So if you see here, right, this is the payload. If you see, I published out the name of the device, which is the IoT device 9881, which is right here on top. And I published the created by is by default. You don't have to do anything by default. Salesforce will put that in there. Message is device not working, which one of the messages that need repair. And created is obviously system, and the status is obsolete. So you see that the virtue of the fact that I clicked on that particular platform event gives me the capability to listen anybody for this particular org publishing platform events for that particular Azure IoT __E, I should be able to capture it right here. Okay, so this was an example of an outgoing. Now let's imagine the other scenario here is for this platform event, which is lead generation bus. This is a platform event. Imagine that anytime a lead is captured from an external system, they push a message to this particular platform event. The trigger out here is going to listen to it. It's after insert. It's going to listen to that, and it's going to create a lead. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'll go back to my other scenario. Let's clear this up. Lead generation. Okay, so I'm just going to input some fields. Company is purple, for example, Inc. Do not contact is true. Email is Jeff J Daniels at gmail1234.com. First name is Jeff. last communicated, say, is 01 02 2019. Daniels, and so put my mobile number in there, and status is open. All right, so let me just save it. So at this point of time, what I'm expecting is that I'm pushing a message into that platform event. Now, don't confuse yourself with this one. These are nothing but the fields of this particular platform event. So if you go in here, you see that these are nothing but these fields which are being shown over to you. This is the metadata. Now, it is so easy to create a platform event, right? All I'm trying to do is that, all right, now I have these fields. I'm going to push this payload into this particular platform event, and I have this trigger which is listening to that platform event, should be able to create a lead. So let's go ahead and save this, clear up the message, and I'm going to save this. You're going to see the success over here, and if you see this, if you see the message broker now, what I have here is that I have two layers to this, right? So this application obviously has a server by itself, and it also has the browser, which is the client. So when in this message broker, the way this communication happens obviously is that the browser first goes and contacts the server of this application. The server goes and pushes that payload into Salesforce. Salesforce gives an acknowledgement back, which comes to the server, and then the server pushes that acknowledgement back into the client, to the browser, right? So whenever you see this API service, that means the server of this application is communicating to Salesforce. And whenever you see a component, that means it is being surfaced onto the browser level. All right. So I do see that I've been able to, the server of this application has responded to me successfully. So I know that, well, it got pushed successfully. The browser, the client also said successfully. Event publish operation completed successfully, some messages. But look, Salesforce now came back and gave us some payload confirmation back to us, which says, all right, so you actually submitted this again. The reason they're the same is because I receive it onto the socket service, which is on the server layer, and then I push that back into the event detail component. That's why you have the same two messages which shows up. But just as a confirmation that how the routing happens. And that's the reason I made it more as an educational purposes, because once what was happening was we were demoing integration, and one of the questions one woman asked us is that, can you show us how the data is being fetched from we were using HTTP, we were using REST APIs, and that at that point I said it's very difficult to show an integration, but what we did is we brought the data back into this org 2 days ago. So the bottom line is that this is more of an educational purposes, is that you don't have to see your network or your console or your Salesforce org, but any communication that happens between Salesforce and this application, I'm just surfacing it up onto this particular message broker. All right, so now let's go back. So I at least from my application, I'm able to see that the message got successfully deposited into Salesforce. So now I need to go back into my leads, and Jeff Daniels, let's not forget that. And I see Jeff Daniels purple ink logged into Salesforce, right? So I'm successfully able to create the message into Salesforce. So with the help of small artifacts like a process builder and a trigger, I'm able to show a complete integration from this particular application. Okay, and it's very intuitive, right? You just have to make sure that you fill in the details. And I also made some small hints over here, which, for example, when you use Workbench, it's very difficult for you to understand. You have to figure it out yourself, or you keep one window open to figure out which one is required or not. So I have given some hints of the first one is false, means is required is false. The second one is the data type, and third one is the length. So for example, in here, company is required, it is a text of data type 255, just to give a hint that what the user needs to put into these fields so that they don't make a mistake. And even if they do make a mistake, for example, you're going to be seeing the error right here. So I'm going to clear this up and say, for example, I'm here. I do see that device ID is required. And say, for example, I'm just going to save this message for the heck of it. All right. So I'm going to just save it. what you're going to see is that in the message it'll tell you that the required fields are missing. In this case, it is the device ID. So you can quickly go in and rectify your mistake and then just resubmit it again. I do surface up the errors in here, as I just said before, just to make sure that the user is able to understand and fix the mistake and submit it again. So I did talk about the ease of this application. It's very simple. It's just click a platform event and showcase this. So for example, when you go into an SDO, by default, an SDO has more platform event, I think 6, and I'll show you all of them. And I built a process builder, I built triggers just to give you a complete integration. It's very easy to do that in Salesforce, but if you don't want to do that and you want to just show a very simple platform event, you can also do that. Like for example, I'm going to just log in into an SDO right now and show you that. But before I go into the details of that, so let me show you how easy it is. So imagine now that my Azure IoT has 3 fields, okay? And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create one more field in my Azure IoT platform event. So I'm going to do new. I'm going to do some text. I'm going to do some field. And length, I'm going to put, say, 100, all right? And I'm going to do save. All right, so if I go back in here, if I just go back and I click on my Azure IoT again, you're going to see that some field coming back. So again, the bottom line is that how fast can you see your changes, how fast you can take action on those fields and move on, right? So I'm going to go ahead and delete that because I don't need that. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to click on that again and it's gone. All right. So I hope any one of us who are working on platform events, it uses this tool, because it has made my life a little easier by not remembering anything. And I can just log into multiple orgs, even if they have more platform events, less, doesn't matter. It's just, you have to just click on it and it will automatically be helping you out to create your platform events. So that's the goal behind it. So let me just go ahead and log out, and I'm going to log into an SDO. So, all right, so if you see this, right, by Salesforce by default, you must have seen in other applications also who uses OAuth, is that Salesforce by default remembers the last one. So I'm saying going to not you. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to change this. I'm going to do login.salesforce.com. And I'm going to use an this is my SDO, I know that. And I'm going to say allow. And you're going to see this is my default. So in this particular SDO, I don't have anything, I don't have a trigger or a process builder to listen or to subscribe to a platform event, right? But still, because of the very nature of the platform event, you can actually show this is really big. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take something that is really small. So say notification, right? All right, good. This is clear. So it says that it's not a required field, but you can always say test message, some payload, and you can save this. Right now you're going to see the message broker working right here, and you see that it got successfully deposited into Salesforce. Okay, and Salesforce says, all right, it's a success. It came to the server layer, it came to the component layer, and then Salesforce acknowledges that this is the payload from the server. This is the payload from the server, and this is the payload that they pushed it into the component. All right. I plan to make some more improvements onto this application. Probably creating a loading GIF, because not that everybody's speed is the same. Some of them might be slow and they'll have no clue what's going on, because sometimes it does take some time. For example, if there are a lot of fields in some of these platform events, which one did I click? Like this one, I guess. Yeah, this is 3, but if this is the one, I guess, right? Anyway, so if you have more fields, it'll just take more time to get it submitted. And I plan to do some more improvements. The responsiveness, this is actually looks much better in a cell phone. If you see this app on an iPhone, it looks really nice. um, and I want to make some improvements. This message broker is not all that responsive yet, but I plan to make it more responsive. And a couple of known issues, minor known issues, is that once you log in, the login button still stays enabled. In some cases, I don't know why, but I plan to fix it in some future releases. But at least it's not going to stop the functionality for you going ahead and using this application. And the second known issue is that if you keep this one open for a long time, the session for a long time, you get a 503 error. But I'm hoping that people will be logging out quickly as soon as they're done with it. But even if you get an error, it comes back out, fixes itself and comes back out. All right, so that's all I wanted to show from this application. I'm eager to get some feedback and what you guys think about this application. Is it helping you out or not? I'm eager to know about that feedback. All right. With that said, thank you everybody.